Okay, so welcome back. In this video, I'll teach you some basic concepts of what is building and some important things you need to know about it. So now you can recall this is where we left in our last video. So now you need to know what building is. So building is basically compiling and linking together the extra libraries and external files and creating an executable file. So several steps are involved, of course, but first one is compiling. So if you can't get a clean compile, you can build your own source code. Now there are few ways to compile. Now you can either right click and your source code and compile it, or you can go build and compile current file. So that's basically compiling and building. I'll show you what happens when you do that. So when you compile, you can see dot object file is created. I'll tell you what an object file is in few moments. But before that, I want to show you one more thing that I believe you need to know, and that is when you right click your first program, you can see build, rebuild, clean, and stop build. So first I'll tell you what clean is. When you compile your source code, this is our source code which will be converted. This is an high level programming language which your computer doesn't understand. So this source code will be converted into binaries, and these binaries will be stored in .o or .obj files. This happens when you build your program. You can see right here, main.cpp.object file is created. Now, when you build your program or compile your program again, the compiler will not bother to compile the source code which is already compiled, like a source code which already has its object and .o file. So, and of course the code isn't changed. It won't bother to compile that, and that really makes sense because you want to be as efficient as possible. Now, here we are compiling only a short source code, but in practice you would be compiling a C++ code which is thousands and thousands of different source codes. So it sometimes it can take time to compile. Now when you build, it will build the program again ignoring them, but when you do clean it, it will delete all the object.obj and .o files. So when you clean, it deletes these files. Then when you build it again, it will build the entire program again, and it won't ignore any single file. So one more thing you need to know is you can rebuild. Rebuild is basically clean plus build. So it basically cleans and builds on its own, so you don't have to click those two things again and again. That's basically it. And there's one more thing you need to know, and that is when you run your file. Now if you are running your file, like it says to enter a number between 1 and 100, there has to be an executable file. So where is it? It should be there. Now it is there. This is our workspace. Like I told you, it keeps track of the things that we need, and the rest of the things which we don't need are basically in our Explorer. So when you come into your Explorer file, just right click and open a folder. Basically, if you have been following my steps, it should be in your documents, and it's our getting started program. Just select your getting started and select folder. So now you can see it's selected, and when you open it, you see different files. Now one is .code lite and one is first program. So you can see all of the files that you don't really need much. They are here. See, the object file is here, everything is here, but you don't need to keep track of them. So we'll come back to our workspace, and this is basically our workspace. So thanks for watching this video, and in next video I'll tell you about compiler errors which will come, different types of compiler errors and how to tackle them. So stay tuned